Hello, my name is SaulApeMan and I like to test things. It's the perfect occasion for me because the new PTR for Warcraft 3 has been online since 2 days. You probably already know what was changed there, but I spent around 8 to 10 hours just testing it. Of course, it's impossible for me to test deeply everything, but in this video I'm going to show you very quickly what basically changed, what are the important changes, balance and hotkeys in-game changes, and also what are the problems in my opinion, what doesn't work to bring attention to it. And as they say, dream being, so who knows, maybe Blizzard or a bigger Warcraft 3 creator like Back to Warcraft, Witty, you name it, are going to see this video, they are going to react to this video, and because of this, you know, maybe they will forward some ideas. From level number 1, general, the most important one, the new quality of life feature breaks the game. The big highlight of this patch is of course the timer that we have that informs you how long it takes for a unit, for a unit in training. So it's 15 seconds to train a peon. It's, let's say, I don't know, 60 seconds to get +1 melee damage in human, and you know, it gives you this information. But of course there is a question: what happens when you stop building a farm, for example, and what is this value? And because it's a null value, when you click on it you get a game crash, so definitely it has to be fixed. The other unit that has ability to stop production time is of course Frost, where a powerful unit, so it's exactly the same. You start producing a peon, you freeze the building, and now when you want to check it out, you click and the game crashes. So there is null summon in a calculation, but it's probably Blizzard is working on this. So I'm going to dive very deeply into the problem with change hotkeys. Let's start with the new one. So now you can put mouse buttons and special characters like dot, period, tilde in some hotkeys, which is amazing. And the first small problem with this is that if you put a scroll click to a peasant, it's too big. So look, I'm in the hotkey menu, the key binding for peasant is listening, I use scroll click, and it's a little bit too big, right? You know, the scroll click name. And how it looks in game? It looks like that. You see scroll click, it's just too big. Next thing about, you know, the hotkeys that you can use to bind thing, and is a community feedback. People would like to see combinations of the hotkeys to use, for example, for inventory. So I personally know some people that would like to have a, let's say, Control A, right? So TP, so the top left, which is a default num7 hotkey, they would like to have it on Control A. I'm pressing Control A, it doesn't work, it's only A. You know, it's not a big thing, but definitely community has been asking for it. And definitely technology is there, because as you can see in other menus, like these menu commands, to end game menu you have Alt plus Q. Next one is that some players can't change hotkeys to mouse buttons when they try to do it in-game. Because you can change hotkeys, of course, when you have Warcraft 3 open, but what was the very new quality of life feature of the last patch is that basically, last quality of life patch, that you can basically just start the game and tinker with the hotkey. So what I did, I'm just in the normal game, a testing game, and let's say I want to change my peasant hotkey to mouse button 4. Click in the menu, I click in the options, I go to the hotkeys, human, peasant, I click mouse 4, and it doesn't work. I can't put it. Let's change to A. It works when I put to a normal hotkey, non mouse button. It doesn't listen to the scroll hotkey, so this is lost. And I don't know if it's physically possible, but yes, definitely some players may be surprised by this, because in order to change this, you need to have the map closed. So I don't know if it's technology missions or it's just impossible. Now we are going to talk about many added hard-coded things that you can change the hotkey to. For example, enable, disable formation, movement, even change the control groups and stuff like that. So maybe let's quickly look at them. We have menu commands. We can change Alt QQ. If somebody has a habit of clicking Alt QQ to exit the game, you can change the hotkey to something unusable without third-party tools and so on. We can edit group commands, you know, to make control plus hotkey to make group control 1. Of course, even 0 is a control group. We have game commands. If somebody doesn't like to click tab, you know, to change the subgroup and to ping in the game and so on, you have so many options. And this is amazing, and I love to see it. And I tested them all, and there are small, very small problems, not significant to be honest, but I want to mention them anyway. So it's going to be basically the same theme, that for some particular things you can't assign mouse buttons because they don't work. The other characters work, like period, dot, tilde, backspace, it works, but mouse button they don't. So you may say, Saul, maybe the game is not going to just allow you to put the mouse button in the control group like field. Let's see. It allows me. It allows me, ladies and gentlemen, and let me tell you that when I do it in game, you can make a control plus mouse for control group as control group 1 because it just doesn't work. To not test everything, the link to the document is in the video description. You can read every single problem, but yes, in some combinations or in some just raw hotkeys, the mouse button, they don't work in game. They work only in the in this menu selection. And so the example that you can actually hear, so toggle sound. So let's make it control plus mouse 4. I save it, and I use control plus mouse 4. And you can still hear the game music. The game sound, I mean. Now I change it back to S. I click save, I use Ctrl S. And now it's silent. And now it's silent. It is many more. And is it very important? Not really, but that's what I have found. So there are some problems with that. And now things about observing the game. So I think it's an unintended change that basically mouse drag doesn't work. And what does it mean? You press your scroll wheel to observe the game smoothly. It's basically better than move your camera via arrows or via like edge scrolling. It was smooth, and that's, for example, back to Warcraft casters like to do. But now it's impossible, so maybe it's just an unintended change. And also the replace hotkey, there are some replace hotkey about how to you set a hotkey for like removing fog of war and toggling fog of war and toggling camera movement, and they are only working in advanced observer mode, not in the normal mode. So that's an issue that I have found. But yes, the most important from the all, that you can't hold the scroll button on the mouse and then like smoothly go through the map. So this is annoying. Okay, but don't worry. This patch brought us the conflict indicator, which I love. And maybe let's be shortly, I will show you what it is. So you have this bar on the bottom left here, key conflict. What does it mean? For example, I'm a new Warcraft 3 player and like, oh, I like to have my Holy Light on A. You know what? I want to have my attack on A as well. I click save, and the game tells me, Saul, there is something very wrong here. Click on the key conflicts. Look how many problems you have. For example, look at this. When you want to attack with your Tree of Ages and you want to eat a tree ability, they have the same hotkey because you like to have your abilities on A. So why to change attack to A or whatever like that if the game instantly tells me that something is wrong? And it's like a mini game. Now I change it back to J. And now my key conflicts like tab is very short. And by the way, what I love about this, that is like kind of, you can search for abilities, right? So for example, I can wonder, okay, what kind of abilities I have on S, right? And I can just make a like global conflict, like a stop on S, and it like shows me like every abilities I have on S. For example, it shows me that, oh, in Farsight Soul you have in Farsi you have Farsight ability on S as well, right? So this is cool. But I have found a problem with it. So for example, key conflict is connected with general tab, right? So for example, let's say I want to make a control group 1 as A. I click it and the game screams on me because I have Archmage selected. I want to make a control group with clicking A, but also Archmage has Blizzard ability on A, right? So this is not great. but it doesn't check, it's not connected to the inventory, and I think that select hero, right? So for example, let's say I want to be able to use the default TP slot with A, and now the game doesn't scream on me, and there's a problem. For example, I'm playing Undead, I have my Death Knight, and look at this, I throw calls with using A, and because my inventory also wants to get a hotkey, the game doesn't know, should I TP or should I use the call, right? And the key conflict tool is not screaming on me, and it should. And one very specific for me collision, so now it's showing me a collision that doesn't exist. So, back to work abilities, basically when you have peasant in militia form, and the peasant wants to go back the militia wants to go back to work. So look at this. When we click on human, peasant, you have only call to arms ability, right? So there is no back to work ability on the peasant, but when you click on militia, you can't pull militia as militia, you can just only make militia to go back to work, right? And I have this on S hotkey. And look at this. When I give peasant S hotkey on any field, for example on repair, the game screams on me. And it says that back to work, and it says that repair human and back to work has a conflict, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, I would like to use this attention, maybe even we have a hotline to Blizzard here. I would like to use this time to really show you, quickly show you what are the old problems with the hotkeys in general. There are basically mistakes there. Let's start with MGs. This is the PTR, right? We click on the MGs, and as you can see, they have two abilities. Hardened skin and resistant skin, and there are passive abilities we should not be able to put the hotkeys here, but you know what is funny? They create conflict. So for example, if I want to have taunt on E, the game is going to scream on me that I have this resistant skin passive ability. It's not an upgrade. I have upgrade on I and O, just to show you that this is something different. It is key K and E. So yes, those two abilities should be just removed from the hotkey menu because they are passive. Also, in buildings in Night Elf, there is no Entangle Goldmine, and you may say, make Entangle Goldmine, but the building is missing. Why it's important? Because as you can see, Entangle Goldmine has a special ability called Unload All, and also Load Wisp. And yes, it's not like with the Zeppelin, right? Load Wisp. So yes, I think we should add Entangle Goldmine to the menu so you can edit them, because you cycle Wisps quite often when you play defensively. And now my favorite part, the marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, when you click on the marketplace and when I see what is there, it's a complete mess. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Ring of Archmagites with all the same hotkey R. We have some items that I don't even know what they do. We have minor replenishment potion when it's like not longer in any drop table. And we have a mess here. And what's the problem? So in marketplace, in the live server, and there is no hotkeys, right? So all of those items, they don't have hotkeys when you like mouse over on them. For example, it's a little bit different with them with the race shops, right? Here the items have hotkeys, right? And it's very cool because there is no that many of them. But let me tell you, if you would like to put a hotkey to every single item, like every single ring, you run out of the alphabet and it's madness. So it can be very confusing for the new players. Like, do you really need a hotkey for Potion of Divinity like here? So yes, I would just remove it, all of the items from here, because like it doesn't make any sense. And what I would do basically, I would just either leave it alone or force grid to the marketplace. Yes, grid, because in marketplace you never know which item is where, and just put a grid hotkey to the fields in the market. So yes, the force grid is the best, and thank God that it's not giving us the key conflicts what is happening in the marketplace, because it's a mess. Okay, as we can see, you may say, Saul, we have Black Dragon Roost, Blue Dragon Roost, and those other dragons. So yes, there are also Nether Dragons. I'm a big fan of Nether Dragons. They look amazing, so we are missing them. And it's a general idea about design, right? Do you want to add a lot of monsters here or any limited monsters? For example, what if I tell you that you can like make a Banshee, and you can possess a Troll Trapper or Murloc Huntsman, so those like level 2, level 3 mercs, they have Ensnare. You can do it in any 1v1 game when you play Undead, and they are missing. So in my opinion, you should basically add all the melee monsters with special abilities, right? I would definitely do it, because as you can see, if somebody's crazy to to do it in 1v1, or somebody likes to play all the random, basically I would just add more monsters here. It's not the problem, it's not going to be the mess as in the marketplace. Last but not least, when we click on the tavern, there is a hotkey called select unit. It looks like a question mark. I tested it in game and it doesn't exist. We don't know what it is, and is it creating a conflict? Let's see. So at least it's not creating a conflict, right? When I put it in queue, it's the same hotkey as Naga. But it gave me, so it's like kind of a dead field, but it gave me this idea to basically add a random hero option from the tavern. Of course, not random from other races, just from one of the 8 heroes. And that was like my idea that I was trying to present in the last quality of life feature. Some people just, some tavern hero players, they, can't make their mind which hero to make. So definitely a random button would be cool. And it would be actually interesting to make a mechanic that if you spawn a random hero from the tavern, it gets a cool skin, right? We saw that Blizzard wants to put some attention into skins like those ghostly string or whatever skills or whatever, or some gold skin, and you can get it only by going for a hero from the tavern. And who knows, later maybe you can make okay, those skins are so cool, some people want to play it, but without the random option, so maybe you can purchase them. Yes, Soul Businessman strikes here. Okay, so the hotkey subject is over. Now let's go to the multiplayer, because yes, the ranking system on BNet exists. And it's quite active, to be honest, especially for the new players. So when we go to the ranking system, as we can see, we have so far 2 players. It's not that easy to play on a BNet when stopping the farm production can break the game. But yes, in general, there are not that many players. But what is cool, yes, when we view profile now, we can check the MMR, and that's work. For example, this particular player, Brett, has 3,823 MMR. In the past, you couldn't check the MMR of the player without playing versus him. But in my opinion, we should add a column with just an MMR value. Now we can MMR range indicator with this rank, but also I would like to bring attention of everybody to some hackers, because some hackers are popular on BNet. Let me show you. Let's go to the live server. So we are on the live server, we go to the multiplayer, we go to the leaderboard. And in this season there is no problem, because I heard that there's already a small ban wave. But when we click on the previous season, the guy that got banned, Mr. Yaun, infamous Yaun, who got 2,464 wins and 24 losses with apparently drop hacking or something like that, is basically was basically banned from the season that happens now. But I would ask Blizzard to put some attention, to remove him from the previous season, maybe just ban him. When I go to his profile still exists. I have a little bit of a zero tolerance policy to hackers to check how he's doing this. You can go for details of this game. So for example, as you can see, Yaun is not producing any units. Maybe he's just disk hacking. I don't know what he's doing, but yes, the data is here. And look for some other players like that, Would they have 2 good stats? Just search their game history. Of course, don't ban anything innocent. Okay, so who has the crazy stats in the previous season? Let's see. Okay, this Korean guy, let's check him. And it's the same thing, right? When I go to his match history in the games that he's winning, he's not producing any heroes and he's still winning, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, he is a very suspicious player, and it took me literally 10 seconds to identify him. So let's spend 30 minutes, search the guys, if you know how they would do it. I don't know myself. Check for those parameters and ban. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about, the balance, important stuff, because the quality of life features are already covered, to the best of my ability. But what is the most important change in this patch? There's a few important patches, but some of the units, they have area of effect abilities. Now they can target wards. And what kind of wards are popular in Warcraft 3? Of course, from the witch doctors. Look, I'm going to make huge amount of the sentry wards and so on. And look at this. When I attack them with AoE damage of glaive thrower, they're all getting damage. You may say, okay, glaive throwers versus this is important. Now, even hands, they have ability, so because they have also area of effect. Look at this. The hands can attack the wards as well, and it's the same with the Pitlord Cleave. But you may say, okay, Saul, but how often do you see witch doctors? But you know what? There are some other wards in Warcraft 3, and they're actually important in Nidal versus Orc. Orc usually goes for a Shadow Hunter as a second hero. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Nidals, they like to play Hunts versus Orcs this day. And look, we made some nice snake pit. We are putting one unit as a control group. We are moving the rest. And look at this, the Hunts. The Hunt can attack wards. And the multiple wards are getting damaged, so it's a buff. It's a big buff to basically mass hunt strategy versus certain wards. Of course, it didn't kill them all because there is a lot of wards, but also a Pitlord as a second hero for the Nidelf versus like with to protect Dryad. Look at this Cliff. Cliff works versus Serpent wards now, with this kinds of crazy. I don't know if it was intended or not, I'm just reporting that that's the result. So yes, the Orc changes, also that Taurens can attack the wards, which is amazing in the Orc mirror, I guess. It's kind of cool, and that burning oil ability also deals damage towards not only the siege damage, but also this burning oil damage. So that's okay, and it works as intended, I guess. I tested. So for the undead, the Lich Nova was increased a little bit, and the values are correct, but what is actually funny, and maybe let's stop here for a moment, that the Death Knight reanimated, that ability was changed, was buffed, but it was buffed incorrectly and it's not that strong. So basically it says that now the units are going to resurrect with your animated death. They will have their abilities that they had while dying, right? So we have a Shaman with Bloodlust, so Master, Witch Doctor on Master, Raider with Ensnare, that's what Raider can offer, Kodobeast with Aura and improved Aura, and with Devour we have Peon that can build, and I put a unit with 2 passive abilities, right? So this amazing Makura, and look at this, my assistant Farseer is going to prepare the corpses, let's say, and Death Knight is already on level 6, let's not waste any time, and I'm animating them, and look at this, they have only basic abilities, and they all don't master, and why it works like that. And by the way, the auras, they don't work, so there is no aura on the Kodo. The default ability Devour works. What is interesting and people are hyped about is that you can actually build with the Peon, so this is funny, and that you know, this timer of animated death is paused in the burrow when Peon is building, so this is pretty cool. But yes, you don't get the abilities and the passives are disappearing, and it should be like with the Banshees, right? So when you have Banshees and you are possessing unit with master ability, the master ability should stay, because it kinda makes sense. Look at this, I possess this Druid of the Claw that was on master, and he's still on master, even though, you know, me, the player number 1, I don't own this ability. So basically it should be a change. This ultimate is not that great, and it's not that often when you see Death Knight level 6, but you see from time to time in melee, so definitely would be very exciting to just grant the abilities for the time of animated death. And with the power of the Twitch chat, I also discovered that you can actually do something interesting with archers. So I'm preparing archers, right? I'm going to animate them. You may say, so archers, you know, they don't have auras, they don't have anything interesting, really. They have Mount Hippogriff ability that was actually buffed. And when you own as undead 6 Hippogriff yourself, you can make Hippogriffs Raider. You might say, okay, so the archers are going to expire. Not really. Look at this. I'm basically unmounting them, and now I'm the owner of 6 Frankenstein archers, and I wouldn't change this. It's not breaking the game. You know, neither undead will never have 6 hippogriffs, and it's not worth it to go for this like in 60-minute game, FFA game or something. It's just a fun interaction, and who knows, maybe in all the random mode, when you have a random hero with a particular race, so if you get Death Knight as Night Elf, you can actually go for it, you know, because then you have access to your hippogriffs. But yes, definitely I would keep it at that. It's funny, but yes, in my opinion, it's not intended like that. Okay, now I would like to talk about the Dark Ranger. So Dark Ranger got buffed, so life drain ability costs less mana. This is true, but also there is a sentence. The Dark Ranger drain life, set damage type change to magic to universal, this will allow life drain to continue to transfer while the caster is magic immune. Okay, so look like this. I have Abomination missing HP, right? I'm going to pop the invul, so my caster is like immortal. And even though I want to give HP to the Abomination because I have invul on me, it's not giving HP because the HP of the Dark Ranger is not changing, right? And okay, we can also recreate this with Anti-Magic Shell. So look at this. I put Anti-Magic Shell and we are giving HP to the Abomination. And Anti-Magic Shell now, ladies and gentlemen, it protects me from the opponent. So probably that's the change, right? So it protects me from the opponent, but this Anti-Magic Shell doesn't, it's a universal transfusion, right? So because it's a universal transfusion, it's not going to protect me, and actually Dark Ranger can die, so be careful. So in general, as we can see, it's not too broken, right? But I like that mana cost was decreased, and maybe it's a good first step to test. Is going to be oppressive because, you know, if it doesn't work, the next step is maybe actually to make it to work with the Banshees, right? That you can give HP from your Anti-Magic Shell. But for now, it's probably too early for that. But yes, that's the Dark Ranger change. Now the change that people are very excited about, so the Panda change. So basically that Breath of Fire should be like we've be like at the animation shows. So this is interesting, right? Because it has good sides and the back sides. I just checked that all of the numbers are okay. My opinion, I don't know if you should move the Panda. Panda is not good as the first hero. Panda is good as a second hero, creeping hero. I don't know if the air laming wouldn't be better, you know, like an undead laming the Night Elf, because Panda is good at chasing air units, and if you can't reach them that good, right, with the short Breath of Fire, the air laming can increase. So I don't know if we like this, but I don't have strong opinions here. And yes, the numbers are looking okay. You need to get with your Panda much closer, you know, to deal a lot of damage. So this is a buff and a nerf. So it's like a buff in straight up fights, and it's a nerf if you want to chase your army or lame your opponent from a distance. From the creep changes, shout out to Blizzard for removing Vampiric Aura from Skeletal Orc. I wanted to record a TikTok about this, but I forgot. Yes, this guy had Vampiric Aura and had Death Coil without having mana pool. So nice that they noticed this. And now actually an important thing. So maybe you remember there was this Tinker bug with the Ring of Regent and with the Hearthstone. It's fixed. I tested it on the PTR. But Blizzard also said Orb effects will now properly proc when units auto-acquire target. What does it mean? Let me show you. I have 4 enemy ghouls. I have Archmage with Orb of Slow. And if I right-click the ghoul, so I attack him because he's an enemy ghoul, the Orb of Slow will work. But if I only auto-acquire target, what does it mean? So I mark my Archmage just stands here AFK. I go with the ghouls, right? So I'm not telling my Archmage to attack. He sees the ghouls and he's attacking himself. The orb is not going to proc. You may say, Saul, be patient, because Orb of Slow is just slow. The proc chance is not that big, but let me tell you, it's definitely not like this. I tested it many times, so it's going to kill all of the ghouls without proccing the orb. And look at this. When I tell him actually to attack, there is now the orb worked correctly, second hit, and already the effect is there. So I think they didn't change that, right? Because this is how I read this bug fix, you know? He auto-acquired target on the ghouls and it didn't work. Speaking about this, I would like to present you something that is actually maybe related with this. So I just want to show you that we have MK with Stormbolt and Bash. Perfect. This is an enemy spellbreaker. And my MK is attacking him. I give him the command, so look at this. Bash is proccing, even though Breaker is spell immune. And look at this. The orb will proc as well. I hope. Yes, we have this. We have orb effect, and we can have Bash effect as well, right? Even at the same time. Let me wait for it a little bit. Oh, now it's 2 effects, slow and Bash, even though he's spell immune. And let me check on the normal unit. So this enemy Gryphon, my MK is attacking. So look, he's applying slow and it's applying Bash at the same time. So we can, it's definitely like with the Spellbreaker. Oh, do you have 2 effects? But let me tell you, it doesn't work on destroyers. And the only matchup where you can actually use Orb on the MK is versus Undead to chase destroyers. And for some reason, it doesn't apply bash to destroyers. Even though, ladies and gentlemen, you know that it should apply bash because it's the same as with Stealthbreaker. I spent a lot of time testing it. I put bash chance to 100% and it still doesn't work. It applies the slow, but it won't apply bash. So this is my way of reporting this orb-related bug. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, it took me 8 hours, probably 10 hours in total to record and edit this video. So please make sure to like the video. This, my feedback, is just the first iteration of the PTR. When we have another iteration, I will record another video with maybe more tests. I love the changes and I like that Blizzard is working on it, but of course, quality control, SaulApeMan, yes, this is a game-changing bug with this infinite time or zero time of building. So yes, make sure to check that. And I'm very curious what you as a community think about this. Let me know in the comment. I hope that, you know, we will get some traction here because, you know, there is a lot of ideas here. Maybe Blizzard will actually watch this video, or maybe they will listen to the opinion of bigger content creator than me, that the bigger content creator got because of this video. And yes, let's all work together on like making Warcraft 3 better. It was SaulApeMan with my PTR bug hunting video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.